Hello, Minister Courtney and the other ministers. Thank you all for inviting me to answer some questions involving the mandate for tithing. And so I'm going to go ahead and attempt to answer these questions. And we'll start with the first one. The first one is, what were the circumstances that led us to question the tithe? Okay, so for the Payton family, we go back to 2013. I started noticing things about money, and when people gathering, money in the Church of God in Christ. First of all, the Church of God in Christ is built the way it's designed. It's almost like a pyramid because there's always collections starting from the local church, the district. They have to collect so much money, and then the district has to send that money over to the jurisdiction, and the jurisdiction sends it all the way up to the international church. So that's what I noticed. So I'm just like, man, so our church is giving the district so much money. Not only that, and it goes up from there. Then if you are a licensed missionary, elder or minister, you have to pay your dues each year. Not only that, you have to pay for your license renewal each year. So these are the things that I started noticing. It was just like about money, right? And I started noticing something else. Some people were getting paid to preach, and they didn't preach. All right. Second thing, that's the second thing. Third thing is, I started noticing that they talk about tithing so much, and I started doing my research about tithing, and I discovered that there was 3 different types of tithing: the Levitical tithe, the tithing for the poor, and the festival tithe. And I started saying, wait a minute, we're only doing one tithe, and why? Why aren't we tithing for the poor? Why aren't we doing a festival tithe? So I had questions about that. All right, now I'm back to answer question number 2, Minister Courtney. And the question is, how has your giving changed as a result? Well, I did stop giving, first of all, because we have to give, all right? But I give according to 2 Corinthians, okay? So whatever money I put in the church, if it's $100, $200, whatever, we title it as offering. We don't put tithe on there, okay? And guess what? Because there was 3 different types of tithing, it was more than 10% back then that they gave as far as food and crops and all that good stuff. So I had a sense of freedom. Like I felt a release. I felt a weight come off of me. That was nothing but the curse that was coming off. Nothing but the curse that they say, you'll be cursed with a curse according to Malachi. All right? Because realizing that, okay, they did it, they tithed according to the law. Finding out what it was, what was tithing. So, and in some instances, we give more. And it's not just monetary. We start giving away clothes, furniture sets, washers, dryers, just giving. Because 2 Corinthians, if you ever notice, 2 Corinthians don't say anything about giving shekels. It don't say anything about giving the American dollar. Of course, America wasn't created back then. It just says give. If I take one of these guitars off the wall back here and give it to somebody, that's giving. If I go and give my clothes away, that's giving. If I give people food, that's giving. Give and it shall be given unto you. It didn't say give money and it shall be given unto you. The word didn't say give this or give that. No, just give. Okay? So that's how our giving changed. We was free to do it, and we just felt so good about it, and we thank God. And it seemed like ever since that time, we have gone. And I'm going to get into that on the third part of this video. But we still give. It is important to give. Okay? So, we're on to question number 3. Okay, we're back with question number 3, Minister Courtney. And the question is, have you seen any evidence of a curse? Ooh, you know what? No. Here's why. Okay. First of all, Galatians chapter 3. Start reading at verse 10 through 13. And I'm going to read it for you. And it says, for as many as are of the works of the law are under the curse. Works of the law are under the curse. For it is written, cursed is everyone that continueth not in all things which are written in the book of the law to do. So because we're not under the law and we're under grace, okay, you can't mix the things that are under the law with the things of grace. All right. And if you're going to mix anything that's under the law, say tithing, crops and animals and whatever period, and you mix it with grace, 2 Corinthians giving, you have to follow the whole law. It's right here. Watch this. I have a study Bible. So sometimes you gotta read down here and see what exactly what it says. For example, once again, it says, for as many as are of the works of the law are under the curse, right? And underneath here, my study Bible says, it refers to all who rely upon obedience to the Mosaic law as the means of winning divine approval. To be under the curse is to be subject to God's wrath and condemnation. Continueth is explained by to do, which means to obey. The recipient of divine wrath is everyone who, believing salvation can be obtained by meritorious works. Think about that. You're thinking that salvation can be obtained by meritorious works. Fails to obey the law perfectly. We're no longer under the law. Okay? And if you continue with Galatians chapter 3, verse 11, it says, but that no man is justified by the law in the sight of God. It is evident. The just shall live by what? Faith. Why? Because we're under grace. Verse 13, it says, Christ had redeemed us from the curse of the law. So how can you be cursed? The only way you can be cursed is if you are under the law. The only way. Because Christ redeemed us from the curse. Now, if you think you're still cursed, you don't believe in Jesus Christ. You don't believe that what he did for us, you don't believe it. Okay? And it's evident if you continue to practice things that were under the law. You don't believe it. Jesus means nothing to you. Watch this. I'll finish reading. For the curse of the law, being made a curse for us. Let me read that again. Let me start that over again. Christ had redeemed us from the curse of the law, being made a curse for us. For it is written, Cursed is everyone that hangeth on the tree. He hung on the tree for you and I. So we won't have to deal with that law stuff anymore. Okay? There's another one. Galatians chapter 5. Galatians chapter 5. Whew. Some of the Galatians, the Galatian people assume that because they're, they believe in Jesus Christ, but at the same time they wanted to go back and do things under the law. So just remember, chapter 3, it says you can't go and be doing things under the law. You got to do the whole law. Right? Now watch Galatians chapter 5. And I'm going to pick it up. I'm going to start at verse 1. Stand fast, therefore, in the liberty wherewith Christ hath made us free, and be not entangled with the yoke of bondage. What's the yoke of bondage? The law. Behold, I, Paul, say unto you, that if ye be circumcised, Christ shall profit you nothing. So they believed in order for them to be saved and to have salvation, it was a ritual for them to be circumcised. Apostle Paul came back and says, if you be circumcised, Christ shall profit you nothing. Nothing. You get nothing. You don't gain anything from what Christ did. Nothing. So if we continue to try to practice the things that were under the law, knowing that we're under grace now, Christ profits us nothing. That is big. That is huge. Watch this. For I testify again to every man, verse 3, chapter 5, Galatians chapter 5. For I testify again to every man that is circumcised, that he is a debtor to do the whole law. There it goes again. You got to do the whole law. Christ, verse 4, is become of no effect unto you. Whosoever of you are justified by the law, ye have fallen from grace. Let me read that again. Verse 4. Christ is become of no effect unto you. Whosoever of you are justified by the law, ye are fallen from grace. So when you try to justify things and bring it into the grace, under grace with us, and say we got to do it, and not realizing that that was done under the law and we're no longer under the law, and you still want to mandate that, all right, guess what? You're falling from grace. Jesus profits you nothing. So which would you rather have? Because the only way you're going to get into heaven is by Jesus. Okay? So, no, not under curse. In fact, it appears to us, and it's not always monetary, but since that time, I got out the Army, 2011, stopped paying tithes in 2013, got a job. From that, my wife has been getting, promoted, and she went to nursing school, had some challenges, but God saw her through it. Okay? She became a registered nurse. 2016, I got a job working for the government. I'm not going to say who it is. And so ever since then, we just been going. And it's not always monetary. It's not. But it's a very good indicator that we're not cursed. We're not cursed. Our family's doing well. Thankful be to God. Okay? So all I can say is, have no fear. Stop letting people talk you into doing some things that are under law, even if you know it ain't right. Because some people will go and they will say, you know what? I want to preach and teach, so I'm going to go ahead and go with the program. They'll read the scriptures, see that tithing was crops and animals and everything, but because they want to preach, well, I'll go along with the program. Well, guess what? You're choosing to fall from grace. God bless you.